The Golden State Warriors have been the lone NBA team this offseason that has yet to make a free agency signing or trade, and fans are beginning to worry that the team will stand pat and not make the necessary improvements. However, the Warriors' absence of moves can be credited to their unfortunate situation with restricted free agent Jonathan Kuminga. Until the Warriors can figure out a solution for the 22-year-old forward, their options are limited. Even though the Warriors are stuck in this situation with Kuminga, they're still looking to make roster upgrades to build around their new star duo of Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler, including finding an improvement at the center position. While Boston Celtics veteran Al Horford seems to be the most likely candidate for the Warriors' lackluster frontcourt, they could search the trade market for a solution. Derek Parker of the Brooklyn Nets on SI proposed a trade that helps the Warriors find their new starting center. Golden State Warriors receive Nick Claxton. Brooklyn Nets receive Buddy Hield, Moses Moody. Claxton, 26, has emerged as a consistent, reliable rim-protecting center over the past few years and would be an ideal center to plug in the paint for Golden State. The 6'11" big man has averaged 11.6 points, 8.9 rebounds, 2.1 assists, and 2.0 blocks per game in his last 3 seasons, while shooting 63.3% from the field. Claxton is entering the second season of a 4-year deal worth $97 million, which is a far too expensive contract for a player of his caliber, but it could be worth it for the Warriors in some capacity. However, his salary decreases year to year, making it more attractive for any trade suitor. In this trade, the Warriors are giving up Moses Moody and Buddy Hield, 2 rotational guards who have each had some good moments in Golden State. Ideally, the Warriors are able to hang on to Hield to have another 3-point threat not named Steph Curry, but he could be the price to pay to acquire a starting caliber center. This trade scenario is certainly not out of the ordinary for the Warriors as they potentially search for a new starting center, and the franchise should be willing to take on Claxton's iffy contract as they go all in with their aging core of Curry, Butler, and Draymond Green. The Warriors are in an interesting spot this offseason, and while a deal like this seems unlikely, they should still be searching for options to make similar improvements. The Sacramento Kings have re-emerged as a leading suitor for Golden State Warriors forward Jonathan Kuminga, having reportedly been in contact with the restricted free agent this week who is open-minded to the idea of joining the Pacific rival according to ESPN's Anthony Slater. While the Kings and Kuminga may be strongly interesting in a union, that's not to say it will be easy to pull off a sign-and trade, as they face an inescapable problem simply with the financial aspects of a deal. Matching salary in a Jonathan Kuminga trade will be incredibly difficult. Sacramento are already hard-capped at the first apron after their sign-and trade for Dennis Schroeder, and Golden State will too be hard-capped at the second apron if they are to send Kuminga to the Kings or elsewhere. Let's assume Kuminga gets a starting salary around $20 million per year deal based on the consensus among league executives in a recent poll by Fred Katz of The Athletic. With base year compensation rules meaning the Warriors can only take back half Kuminga's salary plus $7.5 million, the Kings would therefore have to send out between $12.50 and $17.5 million based on the 22-year-old's $20 million per year contract. Golden State could take on Malik Monk's $18.8 million deal if Sacramento Kuminga bumped Kuminga's number up to about $22 million, but it's important to note that the Warriors have thus far shown no interest in the dynamic guard, and it would leave them little wiggle room to make their other subsequent moves for Al Horford, DeAnthony Melton, etc. With Dennis Schroeder not being trade eligible obviously and assuming Keegan Murray is off the table, let's turn the attention back to Sacramento's current reported offer of Devin Carter, Dario Saric, and draft capital. This is still a financially realistic scenario, but only if Kuminga is willing to take a contract with a starting salary less than $17.85 million. Is the former 7th overall pick really going to take a contract that low, bearing in mind that any sign-and trade has to be at least a 3-year contract? That would seem very low, even if Kuminga is willing to take a little less to get the on-court opportunity he desires. Well, what if the Kings were willing to throw Keon Ellis into the mix as well? A 3-4, one of Saric, Carter, and Ellis for Kuminga, with whatever draft capital thrown in to make it work. This would work and allow Kuminga to get his $20 million starting salary, but it would also only leave Golden State with 3 roster spots, of which only 2 they'll likely use. Do they really want to be bringing in 2 guards as well when they're expected to sign Melton and also have mutual interest with Seth Curry? There's so many moving parts and constraints here that it would almost assuredly have to be a multi-team trade where Monk goes to Team X, that Team X gives the Warriors something they find desirable, and the Kings get Kuminga. That in itself brings its own complications, which is why this entire scenario remains in a logjam and with little ending in sight. The Los Angeles Lakers were scouring the NBA market for a defensive-minded guard, but finally found their solution in former Defensive Player of the Year Marcus Smart. Smart is a great pickup for the Lakers and was reportedly heavily recruited by Luka Doncic to convince him to come to Los Angeles after agreeing to a buyout with the Washington Wizards. However, if Smart were never made available from his buyout, the Lakers likely would have went in another direction, and a recent Golden State Warriors champion could have joined their cross-state rival. Clutch Point's Brett Siegel recently reported that the Lakers had interest in Gary Payton II before striking a deal with Marcus Smart. The Lakers had also previously expressed interest in defensive-minded swingman Gary Payton II before Smart reached his buyout in Washington, Siegel wrote. Payton II, the son of Hall of Fame guard Gary Payton, has played each of the past 5 seasons in Golden State, with a forgettable 15-game stint with the Portland Trail Blazers in the middle. The defensive-minded 6'2" guard has been one of Golden State's most important players over the years, especially in their 2022 championship run. Payton II remains on the unrestricted free agency, and it is certainly a surprise that the Warriors are not eager to re-sign him, unless the 2 parties are mutually ready to part ways. Payton II is the ideal role player for a team looking to compete for a championship, which is why he would be a great addition for either the Lakers or Warriors, but he is likely to find a home elsewhere.